Someone from the village has come to seek a marriage. Just as I was about to leave, a subtitle suddenly appeared before my eyes. Poor female protagonist. She has no idea that she is the person the commander is looking for. And the token is the military medal left by her father. I heard that the military medal was given by the male protagonist to another woman, allowing her to take the place of the female protagonist? Yes. Later the other woman was taken back to the city by the commander to work. And she even got an apartment. Truly a winner in life. This scumbag. Don't come over here. Female protagonist. Run away. I looked up in confusion. I saw Alex pushing through the crowd, rushing towards me. Chapter 1. Why are there so many cars? I heard a commander is coming here to look for relatives. I wonder who is so fortunate. The villagers' chatter interrupted my confusion. If you can connect with the commander, wouldn't that be a big deal? Don't even think about it. I heard there's a token of recognition, something like a military medal. My heart tightened, and I instinctively covered my pocket. Could it be that those subtitles are true, and this military medal is really the token? I couldn't care less about determining the truth. Seeing Alex's figure approaching, I felt an inexplicable panic. I suddenly turned and ran towards the village. Alex was taken aback for a moment, then shouted, "Grace, stop! I have something to say to you." I didn't look back. I pushed off with my toes and flipped over the dirt wall. As I ran, I clutched my pocket. My heart was in turmoil. Is my life really tied to this military medal? Before my eyes, everything was chaotic, and the subtitles suddenly increased. What is this? This isn't right. Why did the female protagonist run away? The token hasn't been given to the male protagonist yet. Has the plot changed? No wonder she's the daughter of a hunter. Her skills are impressive. The female protagonist must have awakened. In my last life, I let opportunities slip away, wandering for half my life, dying alone in my old age. In this new life, I will reclaim everything that belongs to me. Chapter 2. I hid behind the straw stack and peeked out. Alex's hand froze in midair, his face showing some astonishment. Will he really harm me? Alex is an orphan who fled from the war, fainting at the village entrance and nearly freezing to death. Now it's hard to even find food. No one wants another mouth to feed at home. It was my father who took pity on him and brought him home to raise. My brother passed away early, so my father raised Alex as his own son. He taught him all the skills of hunting. Alex is tall and strong, with a square face, and he often brings back a good amount of game. Many young women and widows in the village are fond of him. Slowly, someone started to gossip that I wasn't worthy of him. After my father passed away, a matchmaker came to set him up with a blind date, but I splashed the water I had scooped up all over it. Alex never stopped me. I was very happy, thinking that he must want to be my man too, so I treated this child husband even better. At this moment, the comments on the screen said, "The female protagonist is really pitiful. She saves every penny, but everything she has saved is given to the male protagonist's lover. The male protagonist is also tormented. He clearly has someone he likes, yet he is bound to the female protagonist's family by their kindness. What flirtatious remarks. Doesn't he have a mouth? Why is he dragging the female protagonist while being ambiguous with Monica? Is he suffering too?" I leaned against the straw stack, dazedly processing the information before me. So Alex has had someone else in his heart all along, and it's Monica? I don't know if it's from running, but I felt faint and weak, collapsing. Chapter 3. Based on the arguments in the subtitles, I roughly sorted out my life. Before my father left, he entrusted me to Alex, but he has long had someone else in his heart, and my engagement made him feel guilty towards Monica, with whom he once shared mutual feelings. After being recognized by the commander, Monica arranged for a job in the city. Later, Alex and I got married, but he went to work in the city the month I gave birth to our son, Elias. Since then, we have spent little time together. I thought about how hard it was for him to be alone outside, raising the child while also needing to support him. Long-term malnutrition left me with insufficient milk, so I had to shamelessly borrow milk. During those months, families with babies would avoid me. I had no choice but to sneak into the livestock shed to milk the goats. Life was tough, but it was enough to survive. The child was fed, but he fell ill. The doctor didn't take the last half bag of sweet potatoes from my family. He just said, "The child has too many worms in his belly. It's best to take him to a big hospital for a checkup." It was only when Elias was a year and a half old that he saw his father again. At that moment, Alex was dressed appropriately, which made me feel a bit awkward. Elias has a high fever that won't go down. We can't treat him at home. Grace, don't use Elias to test me. It's really inconvenient for me to bring you into the city right now. As I mentioned in my previous letter, his face was full of impatience and anxiety, making me lower my head. The steam from the meat dumplings in front of me gathered into tears in my eyes. When I looked up again, Alex had already left. There was 20 yuan on the table. I learned from the comments that Monica had a difficult labor that night, and he had waited outside the delivery room all night. And Elias was receiving in 4 drip in the clinic 100 steps away, crying and sobbing, asking why Daddy didn't come to see him. Later on, Monica used her connections to help Alex get a separate room, and his salary increased to 50 yuan a month. Elias and I were brought into the city to enjoy a better life. A year later, we had a daughter. I lay in the hospital bed, smiling along with Alex. He smiled and said, "Monica has always wanted to have both a son and a daughter, but her health has not been good. Now, her wish can be fulfilled. Grace, you are truly capable." I was stunned on the spot. He actually said he wanted to give his daughter to the recently divorced Monica. She wants to name the child Lana. Lana. Bye. Look, how secretive and restrained their love is. It makes me feel like a joke. I went crazy, snatched the child, and hysterically told him to get lost. He looked at me in disbelief and reproached me with disappointment. "Grace, how have you become so inconsiderate?" My son Elias, whom I raised by hand, glared at me with anger. "Mom, you need to apologize to Dad quickly, otherwise, Dad will kick you out, and I don't want to go back to living a hard life with you." Monica held Alex as she wiped her tears. "I told you long ago that bringing Grace into the city would only become a burden for you. Although her father once saved you, you've taken care of her for so many years. Please don't let her drag you down any longer, okay?" Drag down? All these years, what have I dragged him down with? Alex is successful in his career, and Monica has a happy life. And I, stuck in the village living as a widow, raising the child alone while also sending money to my husband who is away, who has worked diligently and aimlessly for a lifetime in this poor, broken village? It's me! I begged and stole for a bite to eat, climbing over walls at midnight, while I slept with a knife against the door. Alex was busy making up for his guilt towards Monica, taking care of her with dedication and selflessness. He abandoned his wife and children, was fickle in love, and in the end, am I the one who drags him down? Should I just roll back to the village, pretend to be deaf and mute, and dedicate my life to their love? But why should I? Before my father passed away, he only asked him to promise to take care of me. It was Alex who said he wanted to marry me. I originally had a bright youth, but it was locked away in a small space by marriage and children. In the end, my son hates me, and my daughter leaves me. They stand on the shore, criticizing how ugly I look struggling in the water. Then they watch as I sink little by little to the bottom. Who exactly is dragging whom down? Chapter 4. As if a scroll unfolds, I see the tragic life I have lived. I lean against the straw stack, my hand tightly gripping my pocket, the corner of the military merit medal digging into my flesh. Blood oozes out, yet I refuse to let go. This is the turning point of fate, and I must seize it tightly. Everything is still changeable. Chapter 5. Monica has been invited into the village chief's house. She is beautiful, petite, and her gentle demeanor is always sought after by the young men in the village. But now, her brows are tightly furrowed, as if she is a bit nervous. Haha. The supporting female character is stunned. The male lead solemnly promises, but the female lead runs away with the military merit medal. Does the female lead know something? Rebirth? Or awakening? I came to watch the drama unfold. Isn't it still drama to torment the supporting female character? According to the subtitles, I learned that Monica has already found the commander. He described the appearance of the military merit medal in detail, but couldn't produce the actual item, which made the commander somewhat hesitant. At that moment, there was a commotion at the door. Alex handed a box to the guard and said a few words while pointing at Monica. As I focused my gaze, I instantly felt anger and gritted my teeth. That was the dowry box left to me by my parents. He has no idea what my father left for me, so he just took everything. For Monica, he really isn't letting any possibility slip by. Amidst the noise, Monica and Alex exchanged a grateful glance from a distance. Alex nodded gently and then scanned the crowd. I knew he was looking for me. Chapter 6. The front door was blocked, so I had to think of another way. The village chief's house is made of bricks and tiles. I tried several times to climb up but had to go home and push the cart instead. This old phoenix is the only betrothal gift Alex gave me, but the money to buy the car still came from my father's inheritance. In the past, the price of the game Alex hunted was always a few % lower than others. I thought he was being ostracized and comforted him every time. Then I counted the money. Living a tight life. It seems that the lack of money is mostly a subsidy for Monica. Looking at the bicycle in front of me, a wave of bitterness rises in my heart. I once longed to live a good life with him, but now, I just want to climb over this wall of Alex and run towards the life that should belong to me. I leaned the bike against the back wall of the village chief's house and climbed up with all my might. This time, I don't want to be a stepping stone for a thief, nor do I want to be a tool for Alex's gratitude. I want to avoid these two piles of mud and seize every opportunity to climb up. Chapter 7. Brick walls are more refined than mud walls. The wall, over 2 meters high, was covered with a thick layer of earth and filled with shards of glass. I didn't notice and cut my palm. The piercing pain made my hand tremble, and a layer of mist instantly filled my eyes. Faint voices could be heard from inside the house, making me anxious. Hurry up. Faster. At that moment, several figures appeared at the alley entrance. Found her. She's here. I saw her first. The malt candy is mine. Cheers of surprise erupted, and I suddenly turned around. It's that group of leather-clad kids who often bother Alex about learning to hunt. The oldest kid pointed at me and shouted, "Catch her quickly. I'll go call Alex." I suddenly panicked, disregarding the remaining shards, and jumped up with all my might. Just as I was climbing over the wall, several hands simultaneously grabbed my ankles and calves. Dare to climb over my wall? Come catch the thief. Pull her pants down. Drag her down. Oh. The girl is bare-bottomed. Shameless. Feeling the tug on my legs, I turned red with embarrassment. Without even looking below, I pulled the waist rope and kicked wildly. The bicycle tipped over, and a child was kicked to the ground by me. Blood. She made my nose bleed. I want to tell my mother. Woo. The force on my leg suddenly loosened, and I seized the opportunity to swing one leg into the wall, and the slightly older child glared fiercely. She bullies children, picks up stones, let's smash her to death. Stealing and hitting people, go die. You stinky B***tch. Just as I was about to jump down, a sudden sound of wind rushed past my ears. The back of my head felt like it had hit something, and a warm stream flowed down. A group of people walked out of the house, surrounding one person in the middle. The military uniform was crisp, and his gaze was piercing. Monica followed behind that person, holding his hand and wiping her tears. I opened my eyes wanting to scream, but my mouth only produced a mumbling sound. A strong sense of dizziness made my body tilt. My palm pressed against the glass shard, and the intense pain brought a moment of clarity, finally allowing me to shout, "Commander!" The person in the center of the courtyard turned in surprise, revealing a resolute face, but the look in Monica's eyes beside him instantly turned to terror. "I am the one who..." I waved my hand and shouted, suddenly feeling someone grab my ankle. A tremendous force suddenly came, and my body was uncontrollably pulled down from the wall. After a dizzying spin, I saw Alex's face. He was holding me, his brow furrowed. "Grace, what are you doing?" Several children gathered around, chattering and reporting. "She tried to sneak into my house to steal things and even hit me. This bitch kicked my nose and made it bleed." Boo-hoo. She even threw stones at us, saying she wanted to kill us. The reproach in Alex's eyes deepened. Chapter 8. After sending the kids away, Alex looked at me sitting in the corner. They hurt me and I need money for medical treatment. If you don't climb the wall, will they hit you? Grace, you're an adult. Why are you arguing with children? He spoke impatiently, his words as cold as ice. This is the barrage of voices. I'm so angry. Clearly, it's that group of brats turning black and white upside down. Is this blind man not seeing it? Can this even be considered the male lead? This character exists just to torment the female lead, right? It's pitiful that the female lead worked so hard, yet still failed in the end. The commander sent someone to check here. The female lead still has a chance. The barrage that I had originally overlooked due to anxiety has now accumulated densely. I precisely locked onto one of them. The commander has sent someone. I still have a chance. Clearly, Alex also knows that things are a bit noisy here. He suddenly bent down to get closer, wanting to pick me up. In the past, I might have genuinely been happy about his sudden closeness, but now, I avoid him like a venomous snake. Don't come over. If you come any closer, I'll scream. Alex paused slightly, then let out a sneer. Grace, you're not Monica. Pretending will only annoy people. Then he seemed to think of something, his gaze flickering. I remember Dad left a military merit medal before. Do you have it on you? Bring it here. I have use for it. I instantly became nervous. I didn't bring it. You treasure it the most. You must have it on you. Don't touch me, or I'll report you for harassment. We have an engagement. As he said this, his brows were lowered, making it hard to read his expression. If you want to touch, then touch. I will marry you in the future. He reached out to touch my waist, like a soldier ready to sacrifice. I randomly grabbed a wooden stick and pointed it at him. If you marry me, do you think I'll just accept? Who do you think you are? Alex's hand froze in midair, staring up in shock. What did you say? I looked at him through tears. You don't even like me. Why would I marry you? The atmosphere became stagnant. In the shadows outside the alley, a young soldier peeked in. Comrade, what's happening here? My eyes instantly sparkled with light as I stood up and pushed Alex away. Comrade, Monica is not the person you are looking for. Alex came back to his senses, his brow deeply furrowed. Chapter 9. Wait a moment. I am bandaging my wounds in the village chief's house. Outside the door, the commander looked serious as he examined the military merit medal in his hand. The village chief was recounting the past between Monica and me. The disinfectant washed away the bloodstains, revealing several deep wounds. My body couldn't stop trembling. Luna from the health station had red-rimmed eyes, constantly murmuring, Grace, dear, it will be all right soon. I had a bandage wrapped around my head, gritting my teeth and shedding tears. Luna felt heartbroken, her peripheral vision glancing towards a certain direction. She exclaimed angrily, Alex has truly lost his mind, not even worried about his own wife getting hurt. Holding another woman like that. How shameless! I followed her gaze. Alex was gently comforting Monica, who was crying in his arms, as if she had suffered a great injustice. The surrounding gazes were constant, but they were completely unconcerned. I gasped in pain. I am not his wife. They are a happy couple. Luna opened her mouth but hesitated. Don't say things out of anger. Alex is quite a catch. If you hurry and have a baby, a man's heart will be secured. I shook my head in sarcasm. Can a child really tie a man's heart? This statement is nothing but a humble fantasy of women who sense that love has turned into a stinking ditch but still refuse to let go. I have a new future. As for Alex, he's not important. Chapter 10. Just as Luna finished prescribing the medicine and left, a figure appeared before me. Alex looked at the bandages on me, his gaze complicated. When the commander comes back, you should apologize and say you took Monica's things without permission. I actually thought he would have a conscience and first ask me about my injuries. I turned my head away, not wanting to waste more words with him. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, Alex took a step and continued. I'm talking to you. He thought I was throwing a tantrum and scolded me. This military merit medal is very important to Monica. How did you become so selfish? Now is not the time for you to act spoiled. If you keep this up, I will get angry. I looked at him indifferently. But this military merit medal is mine. You all wanted to steal it, yet you turn around and blame me for being selfish? Alex's expression stiffened. The things left by Dad are all mine. Monica also stepped out from behind Alex. Grace, you are so selfish. You have had family with you since childhood, and now you have Alex taking care of you. This is just another way out for you. But I have been alone and miserable since I was little. This is a lifeline for me. You already have Alex. Why do you want to compete with me? As she spoke, she actually reddened her eyes and was about to cry. Alex tenderly held her, his eyes filled with pity. But clearly, only Alex believed this. Bullet screen commentators' remarks. Wow, to dare say such a thing. Truly shameless. What is the female lead doing? Slap her. Don't let the man off either. Scumbags deserve bitches. Disgusting. The dawn is right in front of us. The female lead must not be soft-hearted. That's just twisted reasoning. What is the female lead doing? Can't she just follow the plot honestly? Seeing me in deep thought, Alex stepped forward. His gaze was resolute. Grace, I can promise that as long as you give this military merit medal to Monica, I will marry you. Alex. Monica was almost in tears. Alex comforted her a few times, and when he looked at me, his gaze was filled with resignation and forbearance. I lowered my head in silence. At that moment, a tall figure stepped into the room. Monica's crying suddenly stopped as she looked at Alex with hopeful eyes. Alex immediately stepped forward. Commander, it was my sister who took someone else's things out of mischief. I apologize on her behalf. She was just talking nonsense. The person you're looking for is Monica. The commander didn't even glance at him, raising the military merit medal in his hand. Are you telling the truth? Is this military merit medal really awarded to your father by the state? Seeing the commander's expression, Monica's heart tightened, and she forced herself to remain calm as she cried out, "Yes, but I don't know why it was taken by Sister Grace. She said it was from her own family." I coldly watched her wipe her tears, yet I didn't care. The commander's lips curled slightly as he looked at me. Without waiting for him to speak, I decisively shook my head. This military merit medal does not belong to my father. The room suddenly fell silent. Monica looked up, her gaze darting between me and Alex. Alex was stunned, then quickly understood. There was a fleeting moment of guilt when he looked at me. Then he gave Monica a reassuring glance, but I ignored them and continued speaking. This military merit medal indeed does not belong to my father. Rather, it was from when he went into the mountains to hunt and inadvertently saved someone. This military merit medal was given to him by that person. Monica's smile suddenly froze. The bullet comments revealed a cheerful atmosphere. Oh no, the female supporting character is dumbfounded. I was scared to death. Thought the female lead was having a romantic relapse. Well done. It was originally her opportunity. Why should she give it to someone else? Look at the male lead's expression. He doesn't know about this either. Hurry. Report it. Catch those little brats. Of course, Alex didn't know. He always complained that my dad talked too much when he was drunk, and he would sneak out every time to find some peace. The commander asked me many details alone, and after a long time, he finally smiled. He then turned to Monica. Is there anything else you want to say? Monica's face flushed red. She glared at me in anger, and ran out of the room covering her face. Alex instinctively went to chase her, slowing his steps as he passed me. Why did you hide this from me? I smiled at him. You are just an orphan my father picked up. Do I need to tell you about our family's matters? The person in front of me stiffened, the color draining from his face. Chapter 11. The commander did not take me away immediately. Perhaps I need to go back to verify. I didn't insist. Indeed, leaving home soon requires time to pack. But strangely, since that day, Alex has become very attentive to me. His figure began to appear in every corner of the house. The broken fence was repaired, and the leaky chicken coop became brand new. It was as if he suddenly noticed the dilapidation of this home. Wild rabbits that were previously unattainable could now be placed on the table. Seeing me gnawing on a sweet potato, Alex casually put a piece of meat in my bowl and asked, "Grace, how long has it been since you bought clothes?" "Tomorrow. I'll take you into town to buy some. By the way, go collect the certificate." He spoke in a muffled voice, not daring to raise his head. It's really laughable. In the past, I was the one pestering him, asking when he would marry me. Now, however, it was him cautiously probing. Seeing that I didn't respond, Alex slammed the bowl down with a bang. His voice sounded a bit wronged. "You're still mad at me. I've already apologized. What more do you want? We should get married. After all, it's Dad's dying wish." These words sounded somewhat familiar. I used to say them all the time, using the dying wish as an excuse to force him to marry me. But he only frowned. The new era does not support arranged marriages, according to the bullet comments. Until he later married me, we had never registered our marriage. I followed him for a lifetime without any name or status. When I was having our second child, Monica urged me to give the daughter to her. "You don't even have a marriage certificate. Do you want the child to be an illegal resident?" Her eyes were filled with sarcasm. All of this was brought to me by the man in front of me. Now, he still wants to drag me down into the abyss. "Alex, it's impossible for us." Alex's hand trembled, and the chopsticks fell to the ground. "Is it because of Monica? I really have nothing with her. Helping her is because we are both orphans. After so many years of feelings, must we escalate to this point?" His incredulous expression did not seem like a facade. It seemed incomprehensible to him why I, who had always been well-behaved and understanding, suddenly became so resolute. I thought for a moment and nodded. "Yes, it must be." Alex suddenly stood up, his eyes red-rimmed. "If you don't believe me, I can have Monica clarify." He thought I was still sulking. "It's just that I've been in a bad mood lately." He wanted to hold my hand, but I dodged. Alex seemed somewhat helpless, bowing his head as if conceding. "If you don't like Monica, then I won't talk to her anymore, okay? Don't leave me. We're getting married this month. The city isn't much better than the countryside. You have no relatives or friends. If you leave me, who will take care of you?" I scoffed. "So I won't go, and let Monica have the opportunity, right?" Alex's expression changed. Then he earnestly tried to make me accept. "She is indeed more suitable to venture out, and I can't leave because my family has land. After we get married, are we really going to live apart? It's tough to survive in the city. Wouldn't it be easier for you to stay at home? I am your man. I will definitely take good care of you in the future." Chapter 12. I scoffed. If the city is so bad, why did he insist on sending Monica there? Besides, his heart is entirely with Monica. How can he say he wants to marry me? Why should I marry a man who is insincere and has no feelings for me? He is overly attentive to Monica out of guilt. He is even willing to sacrifice me to secure a future for her. What's terrifying is that he thinks my sacrifice is taken for granted. My resistance and my attempts to save myself are all deliberately aimed at Monica. Fortunately, everything has settled. Since he feels guilty and wants to make it up to Monica, then let him go. Anyway, I won't lift a finger. When silence fell in the room, the door was knocked loudly. Alex took the initiative to stand up. Outside the door, the night was thick, and Monica leaned against the door, her face flushed from the light rain. "Alex, I feel so uncomfortable. They are all bullying me. What should I do?" Monica, reeking of alcohol, weakly collapsed into Alex's arms. The wet clothes clung to her body, outlining her delicate curves. Alex was instantly flustered and held her tightly. "How could you come out after drinking so much? I'll take you back." Alex didn't even wear a coat and was about to head out with Monica. Monica leaned on his shoulder, her gaze towards me filled with provocation and pride. Suddenly, she pushed Alex away and looked at me in panic. "I'm sorry, Sister Grace. I drank too much and instinctively wanted to find Alex. I'll leave now. Please don't misunderstand." She glanced at me timidly, then at Alex, tears streaming down her face as she stumbled away. "Monica." Just as Alex was about to chase after her, He suddenly remembered what he had just said to me. After a moment, he turned to look at me. His eyes clearly conveyed, "Don't make a scene. Monica is drunk. It's not safe for her to be alone. I'll settle her down and come back." This scene feels so familiar. Monica always seems to easily take Alex away from me. 2 years ago, during my father's wake, Monica's family wall collapsed. By the time the news reached here, I had already fainted from excessive grief twice. I opened my eyes again, but I saw Uncle Zach pulling Alex, looking extremely angry. "Your father is dead. Why aren't you properly mourning him instead of messing with her wall? Is she your mother or did she breastfeed you?" Many people work hard to have sons, just so there will be someone to take care of them in their old age. Alex was raised by my father like a son, yet he left during the wake for something like this. In the eyes of outsiders, it is extremely disgraceful. Uncle Zach has had a friendship with my father for decades, and he was so angry that he almost acted on it right there. I was suddenly very anxious and stepped forward with red eyes to dissuade him. "Alex, you can't leave now. Dad will be ridiculed." The Monica family just had a wall fall, but no one was hurt. But Alex frowned deeply. "Grace, I'm very sad that Dad is dead, but how can the dead be more important than the living? Are you saying that for the sake of the wake, you don't care about others' lives? Besides, I'm not your biological son. What can others say if I leave?" At that moment, I was so shocked that I was speechless, just holding on to Alex, staring at him in a daze. The person in front of me felt incredibly unfamiliar. That day, I ultimately couldn't keep him, only because someone said that someone in the village was injured and went to the county hospital. Upon hearing this, Alex anxiously pried my hand open. "Monica is injured. What else do you have to say? Can you be a little sensible?" He left in a hurry and with determination. "You stay at home for now. I'll go take a look and come back." I stumbled a bit and grabbed the furious Uncle Zach. The voice was as empty as a lost soul. "Let him go. My father's last journey cannot be disturbed." Uncle Zach stomped his foot in anger, cursing Alex for being heartless, cursing Monica for being shameless, and also cursing my father for being blind in the end. He looked at me and still cursed my father. "Blind you. This ungrateful wolf is no match for my son." The villagers whispered. My father lost one eye, and his heart went blind as well. When my father was buried, it was me, his daughter, who broke the basin and struck the banner. "Alex, this son is building a wall for someone, while Monica stands by to wipe his sweat." The villagers passing by all smile and praise him for caring for his neighbors. I cried my heart out that day. My father misjudged people, and how was I any different? "Alex, you have someone else in your heart. Why do you still want to harm me?" Now that the opportunity is in front of me, I will never sacrifice myself to fulfill others again. Looking at Alex's hopeful yet increasingly impatient expression, I gently nodded. "I didn't stop you from going." As if he breathed a sigh of relief, Alex's steps as he left were very light. Chapter 13. Alex did not return until the next day. When I returned from Uncle Zach's, I saw the commander again. Accompanying him was a woman wearing black-rimmed glasses. It's her, the only ceiling of this drama, the chemical giant Professor Liu. There have been players in the family, and with a deep understanding of chemistry, studying in the Soviet Union, then responding to the country's call to return and contribute to national construction. Which big shot is the author based on? If there is a prototype, it must also be at the level of a founding figure. Let's pay our respects to Professor Liu. How did Professor Liu's background get deceived by 2 rural kids? Is the commander blind? It doesn't make sense. I request Professor Liu to be my grandmother. The believer promises to pursue a direct doctoral program, and will publish 1 paper in Nature every year. I stood there in a daze. The surging barrage of comments and the somewhat reserved commander both hinted that the woman's identity was not simple. "Grace, you're back." The woman turned to look at me, her voice warm as the wind, like a scholarly gentleman, seemingly aware of my nervousness. She smiled and waved her hand. Once I sat down, she gently began to speak. "You should be able to guess my purpose for coming this time. Many years ago, when I was out on an expedition and got lost in the mountains, it was thanks to your father that I survived. I should have come to find you earlier, but after I returned, I was assigned a special mission. I didn't expect that by the time I came back, your father had already passed away. A life-saving grace should be repaid no matter how long it takes. Child, if you have any difficulties in life, feel free to mention them. As long as I can do it, I will never refuse. Her voice was soft when she spoke, but her gaze was firm, giving a particularly reassuring feeling. A buzzing filled my ears, and my heart began to race again. Isn't this the opportunity I've been longing for? The chance to change my fate? I can take this opportunity to make the same choice as Monica. I said I want to go to the city and find a job, even to separate living arrangements. My life will be countless times better than before. A voice deep inside is shouting, just say it. She can definitely do it. But when I met those sincere and bright eyes, I closed my lips. My father would not hold a grudge for favors. After a long silence, I finally spoke, asking a completely unrelated question. Madam, are you a teacher? Professor Liu was taken aback. Yes, but I don't have many students. I lowered my head, my voice dull. Oh, you remind me a lot of my high school teacher. It's very comforting. My family is poor. Ever since my father left, I couldn't afford to go to school. I miss her quite a bit. You really don't need to worry about repaying any debts. I can see that you are a very knowledgeable person. If my father knew he had saved such a capable person, he would definitely be happy and drink a bit more sweet potato liquor. I rambled on about a lot of things. My father had a good heart and saved people. My father had poor judgment and misjudged people. But regardless of whether he was good or not, I no longer have a father. Outside, a light rain began to fall, and from the village to the distant green mountains, everything was gray and misty. The leaves turn in the rain without falling, appearing dull and lifeless. Professor Liu listened patiently, his gaze becoming softer. Do you not like it here? Do you want to come with me? My throat felt dry as I spoke, but there were tears welling in my eyes. But I can't do anything. What can I do outside? You can do anything. There is a restlessness in your eyes, and your life holds countless possibilities. A factory worker, a teacher in a classroom, an artist under the spotlight. You don't need others to define the answers for you. Stand tall and just walk your path slowly. The stars shine brightly, making one's heart hesitate. Can I continue my studies? Professor Liu smiled slightly. You just need to say which school you want to go to. My heart was completely at ease. After sending Professor Liu off with the commander, he looked at me with a complex expression in his eyes. Little girl, you are in for good luck. The teacher recommended by Professor Liu is her direct student. I still don't understand what he means, but I can still hear the caution in his tone. Then he sent someone to go home with me to get my luggage, during which I took a detour and visited a few houses. Before long, the village was filled with the cries of children. My medical fee was received without a penny missing. By the time I reached the village chief's house, his son had already had 2 thin sticks broken. I hurriedly stepped in to stop it, saying only that the child was young and didn't understand. After a round of family gossip, everyone praised me for being reasonable and dignified. After learning I was leaving, the child's mother even wiped away her tears. When I stepped out again, I had already settled things with the village chief. After so many years with Alex, it's better to clear the air about our relationship, to avoid gossip after I'm gone. Chapter 14. There aren't many things to tidy up at home. Just a few pieces of clothing and some jewelry. All the grain and flour have been exchanged for cash, leaving not a single bit behind. Just as I was about to go out, Alex's voice came from outside the house. You should go back first. You know how Grace is. If she sees you, there will be trouble. Alex. The woman's voice was slightly choked with tears. Without waiting for her to finish, I opened the door and stepped out. The 2 people outside the fence hurriedly separated. Monica was wearing a new floral dress and a red headband, her fair face glowing with youthful charm. She was also holding a few bags of brown sugar dates. Looking timidly behind Alex, Alex opened his mouth to speak, but then saw the burden on my back. His expression suddenly changed. Grace, where are you going? I turned around to lock the main room and continued walking outside. Seeing that I didn't answer, his brows furrowed even deeper. Are you still angry about last night? Monica was drunk at the time, and you agreed to let me go. Now you're the one throwing a tantrum. What do you really want? Monica went to the city specifically to buy a lot of things for you to show her gratitude. Now you're trying to run away from home. Can't you be a little more understanding? Stop right there. Let's clarify this. The more he spoke, the angrier he became, reaching out to grab my arm. I sidestepped and quietly observed the two of them. What do you mean by clarify? Are you saying you spent the night with a drunken woman? Or is it that you don't bring home any money and spend it all on women outside? Alex was momentarily speechless, his face turning red as he looked around. What nonsense are you talking about? Monica, standing behind him, couldn't help but jump in. What do you mean by women outside? How can you humiliate someone like this? Alex isn't married to you yet. Why does it concern you? She pointed at me, anxiously on the verge of tears. Alex's face turned pale for a moment, and he gritted his teeth and said to me, Grace, apologize to Monica. She's a young lady. How can you say that to her and expect her to live on? I shrugged and said, why don't you just marry her then? Grace, you know very well that I will only marry you. Alex suddenly shouted, his eyes wide open as if he were gasping for breath. Monica's face, which had just shown a hint of joy, turned gray in an instant. In the next moment, she shuddered and dropped something from her bosom. Alex hurriedly went to pick it up, but it was already too late. I clearly saw that object. It was a photo frame. The two people in the photo were dressed in bright red, snuggled together, with sweet smiles. It was Alex and Monica. I suddenly realized that they went to the city to take this photo. Monica stood beside, her head held high. Grace, you're about to marry Alex. Can't you at least let me keep a memento? Her tone was not guilty, but filled with resentment. Looking at Alex's trembling lips, I nodded. Perfect. Since we already have the wedding photo, it would be inconsiderate of me not to support you too. Grace, are you done yet? Alex suddenly smashed the photo frame on the ground, his square face twisted with rage. I've told you that Monica and I are completely innocent. Why can't you understand human language? You always do this, making baseless suspicions and doubts. Believing every rumor. You're ruining and disrupting a perfectly good home. Aren't you leaving? Well, go ahead and leave now. Let's see how you live without me. After saying that, he grabbed Monica and walked away, leaving behind a pair of silhouettes. I quietly watched them walk away, then stepped on the photo frame and strode towards the village entrance. Chapter 15. Many people came to the village chief's house, most of whom were hunters from the village. Recently, there have been rumors that the government has been cracking down, prohibiting people from entering the mountains to hunt. Everyone was discussing it, although no one has enough land to support their entire family. But after all, with one less source of income, they couldn't help but feel anxious. Alex, sitting in the corner, scanned the room with a hint of arrogance. When it comes to hunting, he is one of the best in the village. Even if he doesn't hunt, he is definitely skilled at farming. Moreover, Grace is hardworking and good at managing a household, so their future life will surely be fine. Just thinking about this, he couldn't help but feel a bit troubled. Since that day when he said a few harsh words, he hadn't seen Grace again. She should be out in the city to relax. It's about time she came back. As for whether Grace would not come back, that was simply impossible. They had relied on each other for so many years. They were already inseparable. Alex was very confident about this. He should catch a few more rabbits before the mountain closes, to make Grace a pair of gloves. Grace was the easiest to please. If he returned a bit earlier on ordinary days, it would make her very happy. He was calculating, a smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. He was completely unaware that while thinking about making gloves, he hadn't thought of Monica at all. The village chief urged everyone to drink a few rounds of alcohol, taking advantage of the liquor to advise everyone to hunt less in the future, lest they end up in jail. Everyone's spirits were low, but they complied. Afterward, the village chief's gaze shifted, looking at Alex with a smile and saying, "There's one more thing. Alex, when are you and Monica going to tie the knot? Everyone is waiting to celebrate your wedding." Alex, feeling a bit tipsy, chuckled vaguely. Soon. It's just, who do you think I should invite? Suddenly, he paused, his gaze fixed directly on the village chief. The village chief grabbed a handful of peanuts, slightly tipsy, and teased, Monica, have you forgotten who you want to marry? Yeah, I even saw you two taking wedding photos. What? Are you backing out after pulling up your pants? Ha ha ha. After drinking, the old men dared to say anything. Amidst the swirling smoke, Alex suddenly stood up. My wife is Grace. What does that have to do with Monica? The room fell silent. We have an engagement. Alex, the village chief interrupted, taking a puff of smoke. Now it's a new China. We don't do arranged marriages anymore. Besides, if you two are engaged, why are you so concerned about Monica? I don't have it. That was just. Alex's face turned red, but he stammered and couldn't say a word. The village chief frowned and tapped the table. Grace is a promising person. She went to the city for school. In the future, she has a bright future. Why would she marry you? Alex's face suddenly turned pale, incredulously asking Grace, she really left? But the village chief didn't answer, just continued to say, moreover, if you don't marry Monica, how will you eat in the future? Alex was taken aback. What do you mean? You are an orphan. You have no land in our village. Before Grace left, she rented the family land to Zach. What right does she have to give my family's land to others? You're not even old you's biological son. You can't like Monica on one hand and eat someone else's last meal on the other. Can you? Alex's body suddenly swayed, sitting dazed in place. Chapter 16. Alex refused to believe it. He stumbled and ran towards home. How could Grace possibly leave him? She liked him so much. This must be another one of her self-directed plays, just to force him to come home. This thought peaked when he saw a familiar figure at the front door. Grace! Alex shouted, and when the figure turned around, his eyes were already filled with tears. He was terrified, filled with dread, his heart racing as if it were about to leap out of his throat. But all the words that came out sounded completely different. Grace, have you had enough of this? Why are you always so willful? What would happen if I didn't tolerate you? He stumbled towards his wife, his voice a bit choked, but gradually, he felt something was off. The person in front of him was also rushing towards him, but her face had turned into Monica. He retreated in panic, mumbling, "Why is it you? Where's Grace? My Grace?" Monica bit her lip, holding a letter in her hand. Grace is gone. We can be together openly now. Aren't you happy? Alex took the letter in a daze. There was only one line. Wishing you and Monica 100 years of happiness. Don't stay at my place anymore. Chapter 17. After returning to school, I felt more pressure than I could count. I had no time to think about anything else. Just busy catching up on the missed classes. The comments said I should go to some big cities that are about to develop. If I catch the wave, I could make a lot of money. Enough for me to live freely for the rest of my life. But I don't want to. Waking up early and burning the midnight oil to study is exhausting and painful, especially when falling behind in classes. That sense of confusion and helplessness is truly tormenting. But I have a thought in my mind. I always want to leave something for the world. In this era, on this land, there are infinite opportunities. If some people go to seize, then some must go to create. I once asked Professor Liu, aren't the conditions better abroad? Why did you come back? Her answer was simple, to ensure that everyone has enough to eat. There are still many people in our country who are hungry. A comrade developed a new variety of rice 2 years ago. Variety No. 2 can achieve a yield of over 500 kilograms per mu. If the fertilizer keeps up, we could even achieve nearly 2,000 gene of yield per mu. But our country's fertilizer production is too low. After introducing large-scale equipment in '73, the annual production capacity is nearly 300,000 tons, which is less than 1/10 of that of the United States. We want to change this situation, not for fame or personal gain, but because our country needs it. Our people need us, and we will do everything we can. Racing against time. I have experienced hunger and know the taste of tree bark. Now, I just wake up early and sleep late every day. I may be tired, but at least I can eat my fill. I cherish this hard-won life and just want to learn more. Perhaps it will come in handy someday? This spiritual hunger is far heavier than my desire for a better life. Sometimes I feel like I can't hold on. My eyes are blurry in the dim light, and my hair is falling out in clumps. Whenever this happens, I write a letter to Professor Liu, with my fingertips gripping a pencil that hasn't grown a nail yet. I write each stroke carefully. In winter, I have to blow on my fingers every few strokes to warm up my stiff, aching hands. The replies are few and far between. I know that Professor Liu and the others are too busy. Chapter 18. Alex somehow found out my school address. He started writing letters to me. In the letters, he asked me why I left without saying goodbye and explained that he really had no other feelings for Monica. During the days I was away, he thought through many things. It was his lack of determination that didn't give me enough sense of security. He said he is currently staying at Monica's house but has already drawn a clear line with her, hoping I won't misunderstand. He also asked when I would return, saying that I have always been the wife in his heart. Chapter 19. Alex's letters often included some change and jerky. The amount and weight were about the same as when he used to sell fewer game. He said he feels guilty towards Dad and will do his best to make it up to me. He always lives in guilt. He married me to repay his father's kindness, thinking that if he had a child, I would be secured. So he resolutely gave up the opportunity to go to the city for Monica. And when he saw her struggling, he chased after her to take care of her. Now, as the tool of repayment, I have left, and he is happily staying by Monica's side. Yet he feels guilty towards me. It seems that I have become another Monica in his heart. But what right does he have? What qualifications does he have to sacrifice one woman's life to support another woman? Just because others love him, does that mean any sacrifice he makes is justified? I feel angry about this, but I am not prepared to be stopped. Seal all the letters received and set them aside. I don't like either of them. It would be best if they could bite each other. Chapter 20. Time flies like a white horse, and I can't grasp its tail. I am very lucky to have caught the opportunity for the country to restore the college entrance examination. My original teacher became my senior brother. I joined my teacher's team and lived more like her. The same simple gray robe, the same heavy glasses. Later, my mentor said that the old Soviet technology was outdated and recommended that I study abroad in the United States. I have taken on more coursework and am self-studying English. Fortunately, there are foreign colleagues in the team, and I often bother him to practice speaking. Over time, he started calling me the beautiful Ms. Looking at the exquisite rose in his hand, I felt a bit troubled. I won't be able to find someone to practice speaking with anymore. Over the years, I have met many outstanding people, yet I still remain alone. The organization has approached me many times, and even some leaders have strongly recommended their own relatives to me. But I always end up turning dates into seminars. I know how much effort it took for me to go from a rural girl to where I am now. I also know how many resources the organization has invested in me. I will try to move forward a little more. Just a little more. Chapter 21. Alex's communication had been cut off long ago. I heard that he was caught for poaching and was imprisoned for a while. No matter how innocent the relationship, it cannot withstand rumors. He and Monica eventually got married. After Monica gave birth to a son, Alex went to the city to work. Coincidentally, my high school was in that city. Even more coincidentally, their son is named Elias. After providing a woman with security for the rest of her life, Alex went off in search of true love, but Monica was not a well-behaved person. She also entered the city and encountered the husband from the original storyline. After they had a son, Alex came looking for them. He angrily accused Monica of being unfaithful and shameless, and during the argument, the two of them fell down the stairs and broke their legs. Ironically, he and Monica were not legally married. His self-righteousness about fidelity left him a widower without a wife or children. I heard this news while paying respects to Uncle Zach at the village gathering. There wasn't much turbulence in my heart, but I felt a bit wistful. As I was leaving, I encountered Alex, who was guarding the grave on the back mountain. He dragged a lame leg. his face lined with deep grooves at over 40 years of age. When his drunken, murky yellow eyes saw me, he suddenly froze. Grace, Grace, you finally came back to find me. No, my Grace will never come back again. He turned around and dragged his leg down the mountain. Perhaps he quickened his pace and suddenly fell into the mud. He buried his head deeply without raising it. Only his shoulders kept shaking. Chapter 22. I was silent for a moment. I sought another path down the mountain. Fortunately, this time it wasn't me who got stuck in the mud. I have discovered another use for bullet screens. Since I immersed myself in research, they have become very rare. I once tried to communicate with them, and they appeared very shocked. At the same time, I was also shocked by their knowledge and experiences. They seemed to be from a different time period than I am. With the help of bullet screens, our research has progressed rapidly. This assistance involves all aspects of social development. It even helps to avoid some major disasters. Our development is no longer hindered by foreign countries. Countless people set sail, sweating for the increasingly prosperous motherland. In this era full of opportunities, our country is stronger than ever before. The suffering people have finally welcomed a glorious light. After research, we have created a machine that can communicate with barrages. After working hard for most of my life, I can finally take a break. The sun is warmly shining on me, and the tea smoke is curling. This life is truly good, I thought as I picked up my teacup, suddenly feeling a sense of awareness and looking up at the sky. There, the sky is clear and vast, empty of anything.